Hi, Jodie Rosé-O'Brien from AWI Extension South Australia. In today's 10-minute talk, we're going to hear from Ben Swain from AMSEA on Merino Sire Evaluation trials.
Ben Swain, I'm the Executive Officer of the Australian Merino Sire Evaluation Association, which is also known as AMSEA. So Sire Evaluation Australia started in 1989 and we've been running continuously ever since then. Currently there's 7 sire evaluation sites running around Australia, the one here in South Australia, and there's 3 in New South Wales, 1 in Western Australia and 2 in Victoria. So as I say, they've been running a long time, and that entire time they've been funded largely by ram breeders. So ram breeders pay to put rams in sire evaluation, and then the industry through Australian Wool Innovation and Meat and Livestock Australia co-fund that investment. So why do breeders put rams in sire evaluation? So first and foremost, it's about benchmarking. So sire evaluation allows ram breeders to benchmark their genetics against other leading studs around Australia. So there's plenty of other ways that they can benchmark as well, but sire evaluation is the truly independent benchmarking program. So we join ewes through an artificial insemination program, and the progeny of those ewes, which are sired by the entrants, are evaluated for a huge range of traits throughout the first couple of years of life. So we measure both visual traits and measured traits, and we do that across, as I say, up to 2 years, and all of that's done independently. So they're independently classed, fleece measurements are done independently, and everything's done. So there's no way people know who the sires are when we're doing the measurements, and that gives a truly robust set of results at the end of the day. So sire evaluation is a really important part of industry. As we know, genetic gain is the one driver of profitability in the industry that's constant. It's not reliant on markets. It's something that we get every year. So if we're breeding good sheep, we get that gain cumulative, and it's permanent in the business. So what we breed today is still benefiting us in 10 or 20 years time. So it's really important that breeders are able to identify where that genetic gain's coming from, and through programs like the Sire Evaluation program, they're able to do that independently and with a lot of confidence. So sire evaluation measures a really large range of traits, and it's a common misconception that sire evaluation is focused on measured traits, and whilst we have a lot of measured traits, so we measure basically all your wool traits, carcass traits, worm egg counts, a whole range of measured traits throughout life at different stages. So weaning weight, for example, then yearling weight and adult weight. We also measure, or record I should say, a massive range of visual traits. So visual traits include traits that we measure as lambs, so breech wrinkle and breech cover, whether they've got black spots, for example, all the way through to traits that we record at classing, so like wool character, wool colour, fleece rot, back and shoulder conformation, leg structure. There's a whole range of traits that we record both pre-shearing and then off shears. Once we've shorn them, we record back and shoulder structure, we record hock structure, breech wrinkle, body wrinkle, neck wrinkle, you name it. If it can be recorded on a merino animal, the sire evaluation sites would be recording it. And that's a really important part of merino breeding, because if we only focus on objective measurements, if we only focus on how much wool a sheep cuts or how heavy the carcass is, we'll go down a very slippery slope of animals not being able to walk, eat, reproduce. So we spend a lot of time on the visual traits in sire evaluation, because merinos are run in some pretty arid environments, and environments that they've got to forage for feed and walk long distances. So if they can't do that, there's not much point having them. Several sire evaluation sites these days are going above and beyond what we've traditionally recorded over the last 40 odd years, and some of those new traits include, say, meat eating quality. So for the last few years we've recorded meat eating quality, and the South Australian side here has been the leader in the collection of meat eating quality, and that's really the traits of shear force, or how chewy the meat is, and intramuscular fat. So how much fat is within the meat, which makes it tender. So those two traits are really important for consumer pleasure, I suppose. So if consumers aren't enjoying what they're eating when they're buying lamb, we're not going to be selling a lot of lamb. So we've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years in merinos, and what we're seeing is that merinos have got great meat eating quality. The consumer testing is saying that merinos eat really well. So that's something that we've got to keep measuring. We know it's genetic, we know it's heritable, so we can keep increasing that meat eating quality. Next down the line, I suppose, that we're starting to look at is methane. There's a lot of talk about methane around the industry, and how do we produce sheep that produce less methane but still retain productiveness. So starting this year, actually in 2025, we'll be measuring all of the Sire Evaluation sheep for methane. So they'll be all individually put into little methane chambers, and we'll be recording methane, and that'll go towards producing a methane breeding value, which will hopefully help us breed our way out of high methane sheep whilst keeping production. So we should be able to breed sheep that produce low methane, that are still highly productive for wool and carcass. The other area that sites are now measuring also is reproduction, and reproduction is a really expensive trait to measure, because we have to take the ewe lambs from a Sire Evaluation trial and join them naturally, and from those joinings we create a reproduction result. So we're looking at conception, so whether that ewe gets in lamb. We're looking at litter size, so how many lambs she gets in lamb with, and her ewe rearing ability, so whether that lamb can survive from lambing through to weaning. And those three traits, when we put them together, we create a weaning rate breeding value, which is like an index for reproduction, I guess, and tells us which of the sire groups are more likely to produce and rear the most amount of lambs. So that's a really exciting trait, because we know reproduction is a major driver of both profitability in a sheep enterprise, but also genetic gain. The more ewe lambs we've got to choose from, or ewe hoggets each year that we've got to choose from, the faster our genetic gain is going to be. So being able to record reproduction, even if you're not a breeder that's focused on reproduction, being able to record it and select those animals that are highly reproductive is really important for genetic gain. So all the Sire Evaluation sites around Australia are all involve rams that are entered by breeders. So when I say that, I mean breeders choose which rams they put into these trials. So at all those sites, they pay different amount of entry fee, depending on the traits that are being measured. But basically, entrants are looking for young rams generally, and most of the rams entered in Sire Evaluation are unproven. They haven't been used at home first. They're rams that breeders are looking, that represent their breeding objective at the time and where their stud's up to. And they're putting those rams into Sire Evaluation to benchmark against rams from other studs that have done exactly the same thing. In addition to rams that are entered by breeders, we also use link sires in each of the trials. And the link sires are used across multiple sites in order to link each of those sites together, so we can compare the results from all of those rams around Australia on one set of results. So those link sires are funded by AWI, and they're basically chosen by the AMSEA executive group to represent the type of merino sire that the industry is looking to breed in general. So at the moment we're looking for sheep with good fleece weight on a plain body, producing a good carcass. So I guess that sounds like the ideal sheep, but what we're looking for is to get those rams that we find at other sites and spread those through other sites as link sires, so other people get to have a look at them.
I'd like to thank Ben Swain for sharing his insight and expertise about Merino Sire Evaluation trials. Today's 10-minute talk was made possible through funding from Australian Wool Innovation, the Department of Primary Industries and Regions, and the South Australian Sheep Industry Fund.